This is George Buza, the voice of Beast on X-Men. And I urge you, if you're going to geek out, geek hard.
Perhaps the professor's vision for the future was too nearsighted, and begging for your tolerance was our first mistake.
Oh, Hank, no, that's not what I was saying.
But it is what you mean. That is the issue.
Alrighty, so we're here at Toronto Comicon at Artist Alley, and we have a chance here to talk with the great George Buza. You guys know him as Beast from X-Men the Animated Series, X-Men 97, but he's been in a ton of great shows over the years. The one show I definitely want to talk to you about is Maniac Mansion. You know, you got to play a 4-year-old trapped in a 40-year-old's body. That must have been like a freeing experience to play that.
Well, it was an excuse to revert back to my childhood and misbehave in a grand fashion, much to the disappointment of my wife, who thought I'd grown up. But I actually patterned that character after my friend John Lallier's son, Matthew Lallier. And he was 4 years old at the time when I got that part. And he was just such a perfect example of Turner that I studied him every time that we would get together. We rode motorcycles together, John and I. And every time I was over to his house, I'd keep an eye on Matthew and pattern my character again on his movements and his speech patterns and his voice and everything. So it was a joy to bring it to life.
Now, when you were shooting that show, what was your relationship with the crew after you'd go up to the rafters and use a pea shooter to hit them with mung beans?
Well, I got mung beans absolutely banned from the set. But Avi and I, who was 12 at the time, he played my older brother. And they had all these plastic straws sitting on the craft table. And then beside them was this, on the set, was this little bowl of mung beans, which fit perfectly into the straws. Now, when I was in school, pea shooters were de rigueur. I could dot an I on the blackboard with a spitball. So immediately reverting back to those days, I grabbed a mittful of the mung beans, a couple of these pea shooters, and said, Avi, let's go up into the lighting booth. And we're up in the rafters, and the crew is down below, and we're pinging them with mung beans during the shooting, having the time of our lives. And finally, they sent somebody up and confiscated them just like the teachers would in class. Give me that.
So you really did revert to childhood when you played this role?
And I'm not a method actor, but give license, and I'll go there.
No one cares how I feel. So if I just hold my breath for forever and ever and ever, they'll be sad.
Now, another show that people might remember you from the late 90s is The Adventures of Sinbad.
You just come right out and say it, huh? It's all my fault. Dubar, big man, the small mind.
I remember you on there. You were Sinbad's boy. You were always backing him up. But the thing I really remember about the show is that there was a lot of exposition. Like, you guys had to get a lot of information out there. And watching it, though, you guys did a pretty good job of keeping the story moving. Like, when you get given a lot of exposition like that, is there a certain way you process it to be like, how can I make this, engaging?
Well, yeah, you've got to get through it and still be able to get the information out so that people know what they're doing, why you're there and everything. I remember the morning that I had this 5-page scene where I basically gave the entire background of how Sinbad and Dubar lost their parents in some sea accident, and Dubar took over the mentorship of his younger brother. And it was 5 pages of solid dialogue. And my alarm didn't go off, and I slept in. And I usually get up a couple hours earlier than my call time so I could work over the dialogue. And already the driver was knocking on my door. And I looked at the clock and I went, oh my God, I've overslept and I didn't get to work with my dialogue at all. And literally, I jumped into my pants. They drove me to the set and I was still pounding back a coffee. I looked at my dialogue, went out and did it in one take. And they said, that's perfect. And I said, holy mackerel, thank you.
That's a close one. That was good.
Close one, yeah.
Go ahead. I've heard it all before. Big muscles, big belly, big mouth, little brain.
Well, of course, X-Men 97, to no one's surprise, was a huge hit. Everybody loved the first season of the show back, and you guys back, and with the new actors as well. Of course, the second season is coming, and we're waiting for it. Well, what has been the response that you've gotten personally from the fans about the new season?
Well, they're all head over heels. And actually, the premiere of that season was taking place right here at this exposition last year this month. And Disney rented a room and decorated in 90s basement decor. And we had donuts and snacks from the 90s. And they screened the first episode for the fans. And it was a huge success. And I've gotten nothing but positive feedback from people at the table about how they've enjoyed the first season. When's the second season coming out? Well, we don't really know. Hopefully it'll be this year. The second season will come out. And we've already been renewed for a third season, so that's not a secret. They're writing it as we speak, I hope, and we're looking forward to doing the first record soon.
Blue Boy, get those doors open.
My name is Mr. McCoy, madam, not Blue Boy.
It's been great talking with you, George. Looking forward to X-Men 97 Season 2 and 3 when it comes. And, of course, more great performances from you.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for all the fans, because without you, we wouldn't be back.